Good morning, gardeners, and welcome to Friday, August 11th. My name is Catherine, and I created a show called Good Morning Gardeners, even though I can't grow green things because I am referring to gardening metaphorically. We're planting the seeds for a better day. We're starting our morning by getting in the right mindset to cultivate a better life for ourselves, better communities, and a better world. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to add Good Morning Gardeners to your morning routine. I do my best to wake you up with positive and mentally stimulating ideas, but sometimes I miss things. If you have something to add to the ideas I discussed today, please chime in the comment section below. Also, before we get started, I need to remind you that I will be on vacation starting August 14th, so there will be no new episodes from Monday, August 14th through Friday, August 18th. During this time, I encourage you to continue your morning routine by listening to older episodes of Good Morning Gardeners that you haven't heard yet. And I should be back with you posting new episodes again on August 21st. So today's daily Stoic reading, titled No Time for Theories, Just Results, begins with a quote from Musonius Rufus. When the problem arose for us, whether habit or theory was better for getting virtue, if by theory is meant what teaches us correct conduct, and by habit we mean being accustomed to act according to this theory, Musonius thought habit to be more effective. The authors add, as Hamlet says, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. There is no time to chop logic over whether our theories are correct. We're dealing with the real world here. What matters is how you're going to deal with this situation right in front of you and whether you're going to be able to move past it and on to the next one. That's not saying that anything goes, but we can't forget that although theories are clean and simple, situations rarely are. So I think this is a good reminder, and I especially like the quote from the lectures of Musonius Rufus, who seems to be saying that theory does have value, but that in the actual real life of a human being, habit is more effective. And yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, I do find great value in pausing to think about the human condition, not to mention consciously cultivating the habits I choose to implement. But yeah, I don't think anyone could really argue against, the effectiveness of taking action being more effective than just thinking about taking action. This concept actually reminds me of Sam Carpenter, the author of Work the System, and his non-holistic approach to life. Theory is basically a holistic thing, right? Because our theories are making grand statements about broad swaths of the human condition, but habits are kind of like the building blocks of our lives. According to Sam Carpenter, theory, or the holistic approach, is counterproductive until you have a firm grasp on those building blocks, the habits, the systems, and the subsystems, the actual tangible mechanisms that comprise our lives. Sam Carpenter writes, the subversive holistic thought process. The concepts of holism and globalism are intricately woven into the fabric of our culture. With that, we often suppose an entire mechanism is faulty, and so we think we must completely replace that mechanism. This overreaction is too many times rooted in feel-good emotionalism that obscures a more sensible path in which one simply studies a primary system's mechanical construction and then fixes a faulty component. From the start, the primary system is probably better than okay, working well in most situations, rather than starting from scratch, which in itself introduces a whole host of challenges and unintended consequences. Could we just make a simple internal adjustment? You know the cliches, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Well, if you are like most people, you have not consciously considered the involvement of systems in your not-so-perfect daily life. Therefore, you have not considered consciously tweaking those systems in order to eliminate problems from occurring in the first place. For most people, whacking emerging moles is how life is played out. There is no thought of burrowing deep into the mole hole for some serious mole extermination. The little moles are furry, cute-faced decoys that distract us from the critical moves we should be making. Let's burrow deep inside their tunnels and ruthlessly eradicate them all. And then, before we leave, let's do what we have to do so no more moles show up later. After that, confident they will never distract us again, we will climb back above ground and start working the other processes of our lives that will take us where we want to go. Here is a mechanical truth. One can compensate for the negative outcome of a recurring problem, but without repairing the errant process that caused it, the problem will undoubtedly occur again. Few people understand the systems approach of successful leaders who intuitively grasp that a seemingly isolated problem is not isolated at all. These system improvement specialists see a problem as the result of a flaw in an errant system, a system that can be tweaked. For these leaders, yes, way more often from the private sector than the public sector, a problem is not a setback just to be corrected and then written off. It's a wake-up call. It's a red flag for improvement. This posture dictates that once the immediate negative outcome is fixed, there is a mandatory second step. It is this step that is key. The problem's cause is traced to the errant subsystem that caused it, which is then modified so the problem won't happen again. At the start, these one-by-one efforts can seem daunting. You work at them for a while and then ask, when will all these problems cease? And when can I stop fixing and documenting? But you carry on. After plugging along for a short while more, you notice that the pace and quantity of incoming glitches has decreased. You see the demands for fire killings aren't coming so fast, and this is the moment in time when a potent conviction takes hold. Now, with fervor, you accelerate the repair process so even fewer errors occur, and your organization and your personal life become ever smoother and more efficient. Profits improve while the vitality and resilience of both your business and yourself increases. Now, you're consciously managing your life, working your systems, no longer a victim of circumstance. You'll never go back. Once your new processes and procedures are in place and functional, you will perform routine reviews of the entire collection. What will the end result be of these ongoing reviews? Your operations' increased efficiency and bottom line will be maintained over the long term. And for you personally, no more fire killing as a way of life, and much more free time. Your task is to optimize one system after another, not careen through the day randomly taking care of whatever problems erupt. Your job is not to be a fire killer. Your job is to prevent fires. Of course, I can't continue speaking about habits and practical building blocks of life without referencing James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, and this morning I have access to my copy again. So I am going to read to you the conclusion of Atomics by James Clear. There is an ancient Greek parable known as the Socrates paradox, which talks about the effect one small action can have when repeated enough times. One formulation of the paradox goes as follows. Can one coin make a person rich? If you give a person a pile of 10 coins, you wouldn't claim that he or she is rich. But what if you add another and another? At some point, you will have to admit that no one can be rich unless one coin can make him or her so. We can say the same about atomic habits. Can one tiny change transform your life? It's unlikely you would say so. But what if you made another, and another, and another? At some point, you would have to admit that your life was transformed by one small change. The holy grail of habit change is not a single 1% improvement, but 1,000 of them. It's a bunch of atomic habits stacking up, each one a fundamental unit of the overall system. In the beginning, small improvements can often seem meaningless because they get washed away by the weight of the system. Just as one coin won't make you rich, one positive change like meditating for 1 minute or reading 1 page a day is unlikely to deliver a noticeable difference. Gradually, though, as you continue to layer small changes on top of one another, the scales of life start to move. Each improvement is like adding a grain of sand to the positive side of the scale, slowly tilting things in your favor. Eventually, if you stick with it, you hit a tipping point. Suddenly it feels easier to stick with good habits. The weight of the system is working for you rather than against you. Over the course of this book, we've looked at dozens of stories about top performers. We've heard about Olympic gold medalists, award-winning artists, business leaders, life-saving physicians, and star comedians who have all used the science of small habits to master their craft and vault to the top of their field. Each of these people, teams, and companies we have covered has faced different circumstances, but ultimately progressed in the same way, through a commitment to tiny, sustainable, unrelenting improvements. Success is not a goal to reach or a finish line to cross. It is a system to improve, an endless process to refine. In chapter 1, I said, if you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. As this book draws to a close, I hope the opposite is true. With the 4 laws of behavior change, you have a set of tools and strategies that you can use to build better systems and shape better habits. Sometimes a habit will be hard to remember, and you'll need to make it obvious. Other times, you won't feel like starting, and you'll need to make it attractive. In many cases, you may find that a habit will be too difficult, and you'll need to make it easy. And sometimes you won't feel like sticking with it, and you'll need to make it satisfying. This is a continuous process. There is no finish line. There is no permanent solution. Whenever you're looking to improve, you can rotate through these 4 laws of behavior change until you find the next bottleneck. Always looking for the next way to get 1% better. The secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you don't stop. It's remarkable the business you can build if you don't stop working. It's remarkable the body you can build if you don't stop training. It's remarkable the knowledge you can build if you don't stop learning. It's remarkable the fortune you can build if you don't stop saving. It's remarkable the friendships you can build if you don't stop caring. Small habits don't add up. They compound. That's the power of atomic habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results. So this book is definitely one of my top recommendations. So if you haven't read it, grab your own copy at the link that I've put in the description of this video. So in the conclusion that I just read, James Clear gives a brief summary of the atomic habits approach, but I really don't think that listening to this chapter alone can compare to reading the entire book. But for the purposes of today's episode, what I want to leave you with is the feeling that, enormous change is entirely within your control. And it's not going to take one enormous, push of effort or an incredible feat on your part. It's just going to take tiny, sustainable changes. So for our focus moment today, I want you to think small for a change. Today, I don't want you to think about your life's purpose. I don't want you to ponder morality. I just want you to think about your tasks for the day. What task are you doing right now? What task are you going to do next? And after that, and so on. Imagine your day stretched before you like a tunnel of tasks, and you will pass through each of these tasks one by one until you arrive at the end, your bed, where you will sleep tonight. Do any of the tasks along the tunnel stand out to you as being maladaptive or not supporting the life you want to build? If so, make a note to yourself right now to resolve this pain point later. Don't think about resolving the pain point yet. Just make a note. And then schedule a time in your calendar when you will sit down and resolve this pain point. If you don't yet use a planner or calendar, set a reminder to yourself using your phone to get one. I believe that having a system for documenting your tasks, processes, habits, and progress is a prerequisite for leveling up your life. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I will speak with you again on Monday, August 21st.